Hi there, welcome back to my YouTube channel ML Cuddler. In this video guys, I am going to share the most realistic and practical roadmap to become data scientist. I have tried and tested this roadmap guys on more than thousands of students through the different workshops I have conducted and the courses I have taken in the past. This roadmap I have tested on every type of students guys from different backgrounds, like students having programming background, without programming background, students who love mathematics, students who actually get scared from the mathematics, students who are having good knowledge on the statistics or without knowledge on the statistics. So on every type of students guys, I have well tried and tested this roadmap. And this roadmap, guys, is based on my 7 years of industrial experience and almost 5 years of my data science mentoring experience, guys. So I can promise this particular roadmap, guys, is going to be a holy grail for all the data science enthusiasts out there. And definitely you can follow this roadmap because this is the most practical roadmap which I was able to create based on my last 7 years of experience of big brands like Infosys, Siemens, as you know, guys, like JFL and currently CitiBank, Unisys, all of them I have already worked in these particular brands, right? So, a part of this roadmap, guys, in this video, I'll share a lot of practical tips and tricks to actually help you out in learning all the skill sets you need to become data scientist, right? So stay tuned with me till the end, guys. And one request, despite my busy schedule with the company, I am finding time to create such videos, guys. So if you are liking the video, please subscribe the channel and like the video, guys. Let's get started and let's move to the screen, guys. Okay, so the first step in our data science roadmap, guys, is the programming language. Why I have kept programming language as our first step? There is a logic behind it, guys. Now, to understand that, let's explore one of the survey which was conducted by Analytics India magazine along with Great Learning to understand the different skill sets which are in demand in the data science domain. Okay, so they actually shared the survey problems with all the data science professionals, including AI ML professionals, and then based on the feedback from the data science professionals, they collected a lot of insights. So now if you look at the screen, on that you can check out. So the description of basically the link of this survey, I'll post in the description, guys. You can check it out over there or you can click over here, right? So now if you check this out, there are a lot of key insights they have collected, guys, and this can be very helpful for all the data science enthusiasts who are planning to start their career in data science. So if one of the survey, definitely throughout the video, guys, I'll be sharing all these key insights with you with different skill sets and the technologies. So now for the first part, why I have kept the programming language as our first step, there is a reason. Now for that purpose, let's check out this basic skills needed for a data science career, guys. This was one of the problem they actually asked to different data science professionals, and based on the feedback, now if you look at 9 out of 10 data science professionals, they have mentioned that the knowledge of programming language is the most basic skill set which is required to start the career in data science. So now this was one of the reason, and trust me, based on my experience also, this is something which you cannot escape from. There are a lot of courses out there which actually promise you to give you job in data science field without programming language. Don't fall in the trap, guys. That's not at all possible, guys, to become data scientist. Programming language is one of the basic skill, as you can see, guys, right? Apart of this, if you look at this top 3, right, if you look at the top 3 basic requirement, programming, statistics, and basic understanding of machine learning. All of these 3 are actually covered in my roadmap. We will be talking about them one by one. So first step, programming language, guys. Now, as per online historical encyclopedia of programming language, there are more than 9,000 programming languages which are built by humans, right? Now, that's again a very interesting problem. Which one to choose to start my career in data science? Which particular programming language is in demand of data science profession? right? So now, based on my experience, guys, I would suggest it's the Python, and there is a logic behind it. Again, if you check out the TOB, so TOB is one of the one of the organization which provides ratings to different programming languages. It actually being calculated based on the result of 25 different search engines, including Google, MSN, Bing, Yahoo, lot of different search engines. Based on that, it calculates in how many results there was a mention of programming language, right? So definitely it provides ratings to all the programming language, and based on the latest result of December 2022, Python is the first, right? So there are a lot of searches, tutorials which are out there on the internet. That's what it mentioned. So that is why, guys, this is one of the major factor. Python is actually getting popular among data science professionals, and I can promise you guys that it is the future of data science and machine learning. So without having any doubt, you can start your programming language part with Python, guys. Okay. So now let's move what different type of topics you need to cover from Python and from where you can learn this Python. Okay. So from the Python programming language, guys, as your first step, these are the topics which you need to get covered, right? So it will start from the different IDs which are available. So if you are a beginner, then definitely I would suggest go with Jupyter Notebook. If you have already background in programming language, then you can start with like Spider or PyCharm or Visual Studio Code. Any one of them you can use, right? So just get comfortable with like different IDs, then start working on the Python syntax, right? So start with hello world, then how do we create variables, then different data types which are available. So these are the topics you need to get covered in the fundamentals and syntax. Then you can cover different data structures which are available in Python. There are 4 data structures which are available: list, dictionary, tuple, and set. Cover those. Then among the control structures, we have like if, else, elif, right? Decision making statements and loops. Among loops, you have to learn about for and while loop, right? So there are 2 things which you need to cover in control structures: if, else, elif, and the second are loops. Then functions, right? Very important concept, guys. Get yourself comfortable with this. How do we create functions in Python, right? User defined functions. Then exception handling. If there are some errors which you are expecting in your script, then how you can handle it without stopping the script, right? So exception handling, definitely. Oops concept, guys. Class plus objects. These are the very important concepts you have to get comfortable with. Everything in Python is a class as is object. As Python follows oops concept, right? Then how do we create packages, or how do we import them? How do we create modules? So that part. And the final one is file handling. How do we access the data from different files format, right? So these are the different concepts which you have to learn, guys. And now for this particular part, guys, one of my favorite course which is available on Coursera, which I used in my earlier stage when I was switching from R programming language to Python. This course helped me a lot, and I would suggest it to everyone. So on Coursera, we have one Python for everybody specialization. So there are 5 or 6 courses in that. First 2 courses you have to cover, not all of them, okay? And do kind of practices on every topic you are learning, because programming is all about practice. That's what I did. I was lucky. I had projects in Infosys when I was switching from R language to Python programming. I had already different projects, so it was quite easy for me to learn. For you as well, I would suggest pick topics, learn them, learn the syntax, and then implement them through different practice problems. Okay, so a separate video I will create on Python programming language, from where which all topics you need to get covered, or from where you can learn it. But this is my favorite course. Definitely you can use this course to actually get comfortable with Python syntax. Okay, so now this is our first step, guys. Now if you are a beginner, I am expecting this particular exercise will take 15 days, not more than that. Okay, because every topic will hardly take half an hour of a day, and then you can spend 1.5 hour every day on practice part, right? So if you spend 2 hours for 15 days, this particular part will get covered easily, guys. So this 15 days for all the beginners who are first time learning about any programming language. If you already have background in any of the language, then it should not take more than 10 days, right? This is my personal exercise because even I learned it in a hard way, guys. You know about my background. I was from the mechanical background, and then I learned it from myself, right? Online through different courses, and then I did a lot of projects. So the same way I am suggesting you also. We are 15 days is more than enough for this particular step. Okay, so hopefully first step is clear to everyone what all topics we need to cover and from where you can learn it. Now, next, the second step, guys. In the second step, you have to learn one tool which is among, like I would say, out of every data science professionals. This is like a bread and butter for them. Every data science professional, whether they are actually having 1 year of experience, 5 years of experience, 10 years of experience, it doesn't matter. They actually use that. And that is your Microsoft Excel. This is the most basic one, guys. This is going to be your bread and butter, and every day I can definitely say this 9 out of 10 open Microsoft Excel in the company every day, including me, right? So definitely the next tool which you have to learn is the Microsoft Excel. The problem is in our curriculum or in our academics, Microsoft Excel is not there as a course. So now what are the different topics you need to cover here? So from your Microsoft Excel, if you are a new user of Microsoft Excel, guys, just get comfortable with the user interface. Now once you do that, after that you need to understand the data formatting or conditional formatting. Right? Very important topics. Then how you can filter the data, how you can perform sorting on the data, right? So all of that you can cover here. Now, the fourth and the most important step, guys, is the functions or the formulas. How do you use different functions which are available in Excel? Like there are arithmetic functions, there are financial functions, there are logical functions. We have lot of functions out there. So how do we apply them? I am not talking about to memorize the function names. Just get comfortable. How do we apply them? What is the syntax we use to use different functions or formulas? Now, the fifth one, how do we perform visualization? Right? How do we perform like exploratory data analysis part in Excel? How do we create graphs? So all of that you have to learn here. So there are different type of charts which are available like histogram, scatter plot, dot chart, time series, right? Or bar graph, column graph, right? All these charts you have to see and you have to learn. Okay. Now, the most commonly used tool from Microsoft Excel in analytics, guys, is the pivot table. This is kind of your bread and butter, guys, if you become data analyst or business analyst. And a lot of people who are already in the data science professions, they definitely will agree with me. So pivot table is our bread and butter. So definitely learn about it. How do we perform aggregation on based on the categorical variables, right? So that is where we use pivot tables. Now from the pivot tables, we can create different pivot charts, right? Now from the pivot charts, we can create different dashboards. These are again very important, guys, very important. Now, just to support my point, let's look out that survey again. The survey which we were talking, right? Let's check out that survey. Yes, so just look at this. So first, MS Excel is the most widely used visualization tool with 2 in 3 analytics professional using it. Right? So Microsoft Excel is the first tool which you use for the visualization. Right? So you have to get comfortable with pivot charts and different graphs which are available. Okay? And then if you look at from the data visualization side, which I will come in the upcoming slides, definitely data visualization is one of the very critical skill set every data science professional need to have. So top three, if we look at from the data visualization point of view or for creating the dashboards. So Microsoft Excel, Tableau and Power BI. I will talk about them in a separate slide. If you look at this, very interesting insight, 84.6% of professionals, they use MS Excel who are having more than 10 years of experience, right? So this is interesting, guys. So, and now from where you can learn, guys, Excel, there are a lot of tutorials which are present out there for Microsoft Excel. So I would suggest, I think I have followed personally, there is one tutorials point. They have tutorials point. I think they have like a blog format also. They provide PDFs also, and there is a series of videos on MS Excel. So you can use that. So I would suggest, because that's how I have learned. There was no course separately which I followed. Different videos, different blogs and all. That's how I have learned it. Okay. So tutorials point, I would suggest you can go ahead and you can learn Microsoft Excel. So this is our second step for Microsoft Excel. And trust me, guys, it should not take more than 7 days for anyone, whether you are a beginner or you are already in the field of data science. 7 days is more than enough for this particular exercise, right? So I think we will be done with 3 weeks so far, right? I'm just taking the reference of a beginner. So 14 to 15 days for the first step, programming language, just to get comfortable with that programming language Python, and 1 week for this Microsoft Excel. I think 3 weeks will be sufficient to cover these two steps. Okay. Now the next very important one, and that is data collection and wrangling. Okay. So far we were covering the basics. Okay. Now we will talk about the actual data science, what kind of work we do, and for that purpose, what kind of tools we need to cover. Okay. So our first is the data collection part, guys, because for any type of analysis or any type of modeling, right, we need data. Now the first step always will be your data collection. In lot of companies, you will have data either in the database, right? There are a lot of databases. Now, guys, that's a different story altogether. So there are a lot of type of databases, relational databases, column oriented databases, or let's say no SQL databases and SQL databases. So for SQL databases, in like I would say 9 out of 10 companies, they will have their relational database. And for that, to collect the data from relational databases, we need SQL programming language. Okay, so SQL, which stands for structured query language. This is the language you need to collect the data from relational databases like Oracle, MS SQL, right, or Redshift from Amazon, AWS, right. So a lot of RDBMSs are there. So for that purpose, you need SQL. Okay, so you have to learn SQL. Now, in some of the companies, the data will be available or will be provided to you in the form of CSV, right, or Excel format. So one option is they have their data in different databases. Now, if the data is there in the relational databases, then you will need SQL for that purpose. And SQL is again a very important skill, guys. You have to learn that, because in every company they have their data in RDBMS. So you have to learn to get the data from there. And lot of time we apply analytics on the SQL itself. So if I talk about my experience in Jubilant Foodworks, this was my day-to-day job, guys. So I was writing SQL queries every day, and I was spending like half of my time in SQL, right? And there is no company as such where I did not use SQL. So SQL is everywhere, like Microsoft Excel. This is also basic skill which is required from the data science professionals. Okay. Now, in some cases, in some of the companies, data will be available in the form of Excel, or like if you are working for a client, they can't give you access to their databases. So they provide data in the form of their Excel, right? So they will provide the Excel or CSV format and you have to start working with it. In some of the companies, you may have to collect data from the internet. Like if I talk about Jubilant Foodworks, when I was working there, we were building one like so. So for one of the brand we were building, that brand was Popeyes. For that we were actually curating the menu, right? Now for that purpose we had to collect the data from different restaurants. And who can provide us all this detail about the restaurants, like about the menu? Definitely we can fetch the data from Swiggy or Zomato. So there is a term we use for that, web scraping or crawling also you can say, where you are actually collecting the data from internet. Okay, so now for web scraping, you can use Python for this purpose. I was using Python. They, there are a lot of good libraries for that purpose. One of the very popular one is Beautiful Soup. Okay, so this is very important library to when you had to scrap the data. Like in my current company, also we are scraping the data from IMDb. Like for G Entertainment, the G5 app. For every movie, we want to enhance our data repository, right? So for that purpose, we actually collect data from IMDb websites about the movie, and we actually enhance our repository, data repository. So for that purpose, also we use Python, and we are able to scrap that data. And sometimes for few of the websites, you will not be able to do that. So for that purpose, you can use APIs provided by, like if I talk about LinkedIn, they have their own API which developers can use to scrap the data. Similarly, Facebook also provides that, or Twitter also provides that. So that's another part to it. But I would suggest from the data collection point of view, SQL is the basic skill you need because you may have to collect data from RDBMSs. Excel, you already know, you have learned in the last slide, like last week. And then web scraping, this is another important skill that you need, right? So this was about data collection. And okay, now the next step, once you have collected the data, guys, after that, what you have to start working on the data set. So either you will start working, first of all, before going into the data manipulation or modeling side, you have to first clean your data. 99% of the time, guys, you will get a noisy data. There will always be noise present in the data. So your second step after data collection will be to clean your data set, right? So now you have to, let's say there are null values which are present. So you have to treat missing values, right? So this is very critical data cleaning step. There will be outliers. Your linear regression model, lot of models which are sensitive to outliers. So you have to treat outliers separately, right? Outlier treatment, right? And there will be like some kind of transformations you have to do, that you can keep it here also in data manipulation. Sometimes you need at the first step itself, right? Or if there are some kind of noisy values present in the variable, that also you have to clean it. So these are the different steps. Now how you can do that? So in Python, there is a library which is like very exhaustive, provides all the functions to deal with data cleaning part, and that library name is pandas. Who are coming from the R background, we have dplyr, right? Very popular. Similarly in Python we have pandas. It provides all the functions which you need to deal with your missing values, outliers, or different type of noise present in the data, right? So now for the data cleaning part, definitely pandas. Once you have cleaned your data, collected the data, now cleaning part is done, then you move to the data manipulation. Now in the data manipulation, what all things you need to do, guys? Sometimes you may have to perform group, let's say you have to perform joins, right? So you have two different data frames, you want to join them, that will come under data manipulation, right? Then sometimes you have to perform aggregation, right? aggregation on the data set. So aggregation, basically performing some mathematical operation on continuous variables. So for that you can use group by functionality from pandas. So again, for data manipulation, pandas is your library. Okay, and basic statistics, if you want to apply like mean, median, mode, numpy you can use. There are a lot of functionality which are derived from numpy and used by pandas, right? So these are the two very important libraries you will need for data cleaning and data manipulation. First one is your pandas, guys. Okay, 80% of the operations will be done through pandas. Okay, I hope this part is clear. Now, if you are new to SQL, you have to spend good amount of time, guys. For SQL, I'll create a separate video where you will be able to understand which topics need to cover from SQL and how from where you can learn that. Okay. Now, a part of this, if you are performing like if you are beginner, then spend as much time as you can, guys. If you are in hurry, then definitely 15 to 20 days are minimum, I would say, because data cleaning and data manipulation, pandas functionality, and then start working on different projects. Okay, there are a lot of projects also you have to do. So what I would say, 15 to 20 days, at least 3 weeks, I would suggest at least 3 weeks spend on this particular part if you are a beginner. Okay, take different data sets, perform cleaning on that, perform different type of data manipulations, right? Learn SQL. So all these things you can cover in 3 weeks. I'm not saying go become an expert of SQL. Basics, guys, because you cannot become expert of SQL. There are a lot of things which you will need to cover. You can spend almost like 5 to 6 months just to learn SQL. It's not at all required also. What you need to do, use just like you should be comfortable with the SQL queries, right? And you should be able to you should be able to write basic queries in SQL, guys. That is more than enough to start with.